Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Crypto News Podcast. We are buzzing as always, still coming out from Buenos Aires and super pumped to have today's guest on the show. We're going to do a big old deep dive into AI and into prediction markets today, and I'm super pumped to get into it. Today we have the one and only Michael Sena on the show today, CSO and co-founder of Recall, a decentralized skill market for AI, where communities fund, rank, and discover the AI solutions they need. Started in crypto way back, pretty much an OG back in 2016, helped scale ConsenSys from 30 to 1,800 people, co-founded uPort, the first decentralized identity protocol, and 3Box Labs, where he led development of Ceramic Network. At Recall, he focuses on growing the world's largest AI competitions and giving the community the power to shape and accelerate the future of AI. This is going to be an absolute banger. Michael, welcome to the show, my friend. Pumped to have you on.
Yeah, hey.
Also love the style. I feel like you and I mean, that's the exact, I don't know if that's a black tee under there, but I'm wear a chapeau, wear the black tee kind of guy. So we got similar style too. I love that.
Yeah, looking forward to the chat. And of course, it's a black tee under there.
Gotta be black tee gang. I'm a Uniqlo guy. I don't know if you're a Uniqlo guy, but the Uniqlo black tee is like $20 a pop. I mean, I'm traveling right now. I'm not traveling, but I've been in Argentina for a while. As soon as I go back home for Christmas, I'll go on Uniqlo and I will literally order 10 blacks, 10 whites, 10 blues, and 10 grays right to the crib. I love like a nice fresh Uniqlo tee. They're bangers for me.
You're keeping them in business.
Yeah, I keep the lights on at Uniqlo. I should, honestly, no free ads. Maybe I should reach out, see if they want to do a Uniqlo promo code, see if we can work some magic there. Okay, let's jump into it. Let's start with AI. Present day AI. We're recording early December. This episode is going to also air early to mid-December. A couple weeks ago, Google comes out, Gemini on fire, absolutely on fire. Banana Nano blowing up. Candidly, I was an OpenAI guy. I think it was just because they came out first. I would always use ChatGPT. I've sort of changed over the last 3 to 4 weeks. And the one thing I don't like is because OpenAI, because ChatGPT knows everything about me, which I actually hate, but sort of like as well, I didn't need to give really good inputs because it knows who I am and knows what I talk about. So I could be lazy with my inputs. Now I'm moving over to Gemini. I feel like I'm getting a lot better outputs. Nano Banana is absolutely elite, having so much fun with that, but I don't want to export all of my data from ChatGPT. You are a true AI guy. I'm, just very basic in the weeds. How much fun has the last couple of years been for you? I mean, you're doing AI competitions right now. Present day AI, what gets you going? What's your TLDR? What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, Google's new model is pretty elite. Just to sort of touch on that, like it feels like it's been, a step function improvement over some of the more iterative improvements we've seen in AI models over the last year, I would say. Until that, it sort of felt like we were reaching this plateau of like, when we get marketed that the big improvements in GPT 5.1 was that now if you tell it to not use M dashes, it will listen to you, versus some of the previous sort of like innovations that they were really driving.
Oh yeah.
Sort of shows that we were plateauing a bit. And I think it's sort of related to the way that models were fundamentally designed or trained. And so, I mean, that's just the latest release from Google is just sort of one in a string of, massive improvements over the last few years in AI. Like I remember, I think it was almost holiday time 3 years ago where I really started using ChatGPT for the first time.
Yeah.
And now kind of like
Same as you.
looking at how everything's exploded since then. I mean, now you've got agents doing everything. You've got models, you've got specialized tools like Nano Banana. I mean, like you said, I've been actually using Nano Banana pretty religiously for the past 6 months.
Oh wow.
It's like it was the first image gen model or like tool or agent that you could sort of make incremental improvements to images. And like I'm on the marketing team. I create a lot of stuff, and there's nothing more frustrating to me than when I'm like, hey, take this image and change this one little thing in it, and the entire image changes because it's sort of non-deterministic. So I feel like they had that on lock, and now they just keep improving it with the sort of like underlying improvements in the base models. But yeah, I mean, AI is sort of on this curve that it feels like crypto was on a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm really interested and sort of excited about what happens at that sort of intersection when these two massive growth curves intersect.
It's wild. Does the current AI infrastructure build out, does that worry you at all? I don't even think I can use the word billions anymore. I think it's trillions of dollars that are literally cemented into not gigacenters, mega gigacenters. Again, this is getting out of my pay grade with the words I have to use here. But does this worry you at all, where we are literally putting trillions of dollars into massive factories and warehouses for AI? Like literally just GPU city with a bunch of coolers, and that's all we're building right now. Is that worrisome?
Well, I mean, the capex of these companies like Mag 7 and other international companies is enormous.
Unlimited.
I
Yeah.
mean, so for some context, my partner helps build data centers for one of these companies, which I won't call out publicly, but so I have a little bit of like inside info on everything they're doing, but like it feels like the big risk here. Like obviously capex is needed for growth in the way that AI models are currently improved is like we need bigger data sets, we need more training, we throw more compute at it, and we get better models. It's literally like money in, quality out right now.
Yeah.
And like the big risk there is what happens if we come up with a new type of a model, right? Like a model that is
Yep.
not built on sort of brute force training, but is like more efficient. And then you sort of have this overhang of compute capacity that you might not need because sort of everyone's capacity curve assumptions are based on the way that models are currently designed and built. And if the way that models are built changes to be way more efficient, then obviously some of this capex might not be needed. You'll see companies start to like cut back on some of their spend. But that's not a reality today. There are some like novel innovations happening in that space, but not at massive scale yet. And I mean, I think it depends on the type of company, right? If you're someone like Google, you have use for these data centers, right? Like they're not just like they have a cloud business. They have like all these other services that they can run on them. It doesn't need to be AI. So, obviously there's some sort of like insulation or insurance there for them. But if you're someone like, XAI or someone, that is like just an AI company and you're spending all these on data centers, then there is some inherent risk in that, you know. So I think it sort of depends on which company is doing the build out. But yeah, I
Yep.
mean it's undeniable. Like land everywhere is getting sapped up and it's like how much energy can we get to this thing? People are exploring nuclear to power these. It's like what is the pull on the local water supply? Is there enough water to cool these things? Like it's kind of wild.
You and I are in the exact same camp. I worry about exactly what you've said. When does the input stop equaling the output? Like right now, we can spend 1 billion to get that X amount of, that X improvement for the models. But what happens when it just doesn't make sense anymore? We're not talking like, oh, we wasted a couple of billion, say la vie. It's like hundreds of billions gone out of thin air. So it's going to be pretty wild. Let's get into what you guys do in that recall here. Tons of AI stuff. How would you even describe what you guys do? Because you're doing a whole lot of everything in AI. What's like the elevator pitch for recall?
Yeah, Recall is building arenas that evaluate AI performance at a range of skills. So whether you want to know which model or agent is the best at managing your crypto portfolio or summarizing documents or generating yield or predicting the outcomes of NFL games or trading political prediction markets, like all of these things are different skills that people want from AI. And today there's really no clear way of knowing which is truly the best due to like benchmark contamination, sort of like all the problems with benchmarks, which I can go into. And benchmarks only cover the like academic skills, right? You have like abstract reasoning, or you have like these sort of skills and tests that academics or researchers think are important to measure AI, but normal people are like, which AI model just like won't use M dashes in my writing, and which one should
Yeah.
I use then? Or like,
Yes.
which one is the best travel agent? Like, and these are like real practical things that just like are completely opaque to most people. So they default to ChatGPT or whatever, but now like there's this long tail and explosion of innovation from AI developers around the world, either building specialized models for certain things or building specialized AI agents which really like take these models and add some stuff to it to deliver a product to people. We just help add transparency and clarity so that we can rank which AI is the best. And so arenas are the future. Benchmarks are where we've typically been, but it's sort of well known at this point that benchmarks are not the path forward.
Yep.
sort of like what got us here won't bring us into the future. And so we're really helping to accelerate that aspect of AI.
I love it. Let's get into the AI crypto part of things, specifically the crypto trading strategies. This is something that really interests me, not only for the crypto degens like us, and my apologies if you're not a degen and I'm calling you a degen, but the folks like, not even my parents, bad example, my parents, they probably wouldn't touch an AI bot in crypto, but maybe some of our friends who have only maybe bought a couple $100 of Bitcoin on Coinbase kind of thing. I feel like this is really cool where they can say, they can go to their agent and say, okay, the agent can go on some type of DEX and give me a basket and manage that basket of the top 10 AI cryptos or the top 10 DeFi coins or the top 10 RWAs, whatever the case may be. And it's literally as simple as typing in, here's $10,000. These are my risk parameters. Go. How does that actually get built out, right? How does the agent connect to the DeFi protocol? How does it onboard funds? Like walk me through the actual input output of using the agent to trade and manage your portfolio.
Yeah, so I mean, I would first make that cut and division between like the AI agent build, and then like the AI agent
Ooh,
user, because a lot of the best crypto trading agents or portfolio management agents today like aren't public, right? Like
of
if you
course.
built an agent and it has alpha and it's generating yield, right? Like at some, maybe you can scale that a little bit. It's, you want to keep your profits private, right? And then maybe you start accepting some external money or sharing your strategy, but like the more liquidity you pull into that strategy, the strategy sort of starts to evaporate, right? So I think you see some of that. But on the build out side, really what an agent is, we'll start there, is this foundational model. So you've got like, GPT or DeepSeek or, Gemini or one of these base models. You use some agent framework, which usually gives you these things out of the box. And a lot of times it sort of looks just like now making it special, right? So if it's sort of just a wrapper on top of the model, there's nothing special about it. And we've run trading competitions with just the base models to sort of show what the sort of like state of the art is if you just use an LLM out of the box to trade for you. And the results are pretty underwhelming. A lot of times they like slightly underperform just holding Bitcoin.
Really?
And so yeah. And
Wow.
so people need to feed data sets into that model, right? Like you need to give it more context to make decisions on your behalf. And so sometimes, like you said, it's inputting your own strategy. Like I want to, trade a basket of blue chip AI coins, right? And so it should be smart enough to be able to be like, okay, well, I know I can look at the market caps and holders and I can be like, okay, here's the top 10. But then it's like, what other data are you feeding for it to even do that? So you probably need like a DEX screener API or something like that. You probably need to pull in like Masari research reports. You probably
Yeah.
need to pull in like real time on chain analytics and holder stats and, token velocity metrics and all these sort of things. And basically, like the more data you give it, doesn't necessarily mean the smarter it is, right? The more confused it can be trying to make sense of all this. So you kind of then have to start to give it a strategy to look through. And so that's sort of really where the art is. It's like telling your AI like which data feeds and sets to prioritize, like what's your general strategy. Are you a technical, do you want it to trade technicals? Do you want it to trade momentum? Like what is your edge or vibe? So it's sort of like you still have to kind of to build a high quality trading agent, you still need to know and tell it sort of what to look for, like what the
Yeah.
trading strategy you want to implement is. And then after that, I mean, sort of the integrating all the data sets, sure, you might have to pay, but a lot of AI tools can actually do the integration, so that is simple. But again, it's more like anything, vibe coding a website or whatever. Like the actual build is kind of, I don't want to say straightforward for anyone, but it's a lot easier than it used to be. But it is sort of, you need to know
It's still the
what the
person. Yeah.
yeah,
It still
exactly.
comes down to the
If you're
person.
building.
Yeah.
And I think some people are starting to spend a lot of money on this. Like if you're, a high net worth individual and you, want to generate steady risk adjusted returns of some portion of your portfolio in an automated way, like it's probably worth you investing in trying to build one of these things out, having someone do it for you just because it gives you more ability to touch grass, like live your life, right? Like sort of automate one portion of your portfolio. we're seeing it sort of follow the trend that like high frequency trading did in TradFi markets, right? It's like those sort of like exploded and they're really just like, Python scripts or in an oversimplification, like they're deterministic programs that you write and you have to tell it like if this, then that a lot of times basically. But with AI, it's a bit more autonomous. You don't have to be so explicit, but that also means there could be unintended consequences, right? So like it could do things that you'd never known or seen before. And I think that's where some of the testing and validation and making sure your strategy is right sort of like comes into play.
Well said. You're on a roll here. We got to take a quick break. Give a huge shout out to our sponsor of the show. When we get back, we're going to keep buzzing on everything recall, everything AI, and we're going to get into prediction markets as well. Huge shout out to Prime XBT, longtime friends and longtime sponsors of the Crypto News podcast. We love the team at Prime XBT as they offer a robust trading system for both beginners and professional traders. Doesn't matter if you're a rookie or a vet, you can easily design and customize your widgets and layouts to best fit your trading style. Prime XBT is also running an exclusive promo for listeners of the Crypto News podcast. Use the promo code CryptoNews50, that's CryptoNews50, all one word, to receive 50% of your deposit credited to your trading accounts. Again, that's CryptoNews50, all one word, to receive 50% of your deposit credited to your trading account. Okay, open arenas. You talked about it a little bit. Walk me through how it actually works. Because right now, like you said, all the new models, they're going for this benchmark bullshit. And no one gives a shit about the benchmarks. This is sort of similar and akin to, I don't want to say SATs, maybe that's a bad example, but some type of generalized testing score where it's like sometimes the people who score best on tests aren't I feel like high test scores have a very small correlation to success, however you determine success in life or earning potential, whatever the case may be, who doesn't matter, but they just don't really make sense right now. What do the open arenas do? What do the AI arenas do to give us better AI selection? How does it work?
Yeah, I love the analogy. I mean, it is exactly that. Like benchmarks are these predefined tests that are well known and that
Yep.
model developers like train their models on. And models like memorize the answers. And then that's why you see all these new models that come out that like increasing benchmark scores. And it's like we scored an 87% on SWE-bench or whatever.
What does that mean
And
for us? We don't give a
it
shit.
doesn't mean
Just,
anything.
yeah, give me something that
Like
works for me. Yeah.
you saw Grok, like I think the one of the most well-known examples was like when Grok 4 came out. It was like, look at Grok 4's benchmark numbers, and then people were like, what the hell? Like it's not even close to my lived experience with this model. And so that's really what we're trying to fix. Like, benchmarks are static, they're well known, they're defined, like models can just we call it benchmaxing. Like every model is benchmaxed
Mm.
today, right? And but like one benchmarks exclude the long tail of all these agents that are being built by people around the world because the benchmarks are run by these organizations and they're like paid by OpenAI or they're paid by these big labs companies and they test maybe like 10 models on the benchmark or whatever. And so if I build like an agent or a specialized model, like I have no way of proving that it's good at something because the official things are closed and kind of like restricted to this
Classic. To the
cabal,
mafia. Yeah.
right? And so one is just like opening that up and democratizing reputation for AI developers to actually have their things considered and evaluated. But more than that, arenas are like actual real world tests where we put models head to head or agents head to head. So like an example of this would be like we're talking about crypto trading. I think now we've run probably almost 20 crypto trading arenas that have
Wow.
tested agents and models on perps trading, on Hyperliquid, spot trading. We're launching a spot one on Aerodrome soon. They've done paper trading. So, like, just sort of simulated trading, buys and sells without actually managing funds. We've done alpha detection. So at least in the trading arena, those are sort of the general domains so far. And it's really simple. I mean, like, you define the evaluation criteria. So, like, what is going to determine leaderboard rank, right? Which metric matters most? And in a really simplistic version of a trading arena, you could just say P&L. Like, if everyone starts with the same amount of money, the person with the most profit at the end of the trading window wins. Or, then you can set parameters like, okay, you can only trade tokens with certain liquidity or with certain market caps because it becomes less gameable. But then you start to develop like more questions. You're like, okay, well, who's a better trader? An agent that has returned 100%, but in the middle of the competition drew down 80%, right? Or an agent that, you know, ended the competition up 20%, but had a max drawdown of 1%, right? Like, so then you start to think about, okay, well, maybe there's other trading arenas that we can run with different metrics like Sharpe ratio or Sortino ratio or Kalmar ratio. These are sort of like more sophisticated metrics that are risk adjusted returns, and they're used by like actually like leading financial institutions around the world because they know that it's not about pure profit. It's about how much profit you make with the amount of risk or, risk
Yep.
management you took. And so each of those metrics is like a different arena, right? And so you can say, well, this agent generated the most profit, but if you want to say which agent should I use to manage my portfolio on a risk adjusted basis, right? It'll give you a different leaderboard. And so each of these developers around the world submit their agents or their models to this arena, and they compete head to head with like live leaderboards and live stats. And, every time they make a decision, in this case, executing a trade, their reasoning is logged. So it's all fully transparent. And at the end of the arena, there's a leaderboard, and these leaderboards roll up into global leaderboards. So if you do like 20 arenas that test the same trading skill, you have this like global leaderboard that updates with every run of the arena. So you have this like running global leaderboard for trading. It kind of works like ELO in chess,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
where your ranking change on the global leaderboard depends on the quality of the competitors you competed against in a specific competition. And so we want to create this sort of open platform where, community can submit skills that they want tested. They can submit agents and models for testing. And the output of this is just like these data sets and these leaderboards that people can use to make smarter decisions.
I love that. I got to candidly, I have not, besides just doing very little research for the show, I have not used Recall yet. But after the show, Hundo P, I will be doing a deep dive. This is something that interests me a lot, and I'm very curious to learn more about this. And Recall is a great place. So love what you guys are doing. Prediction markets. You guys did the NFL prediction market for Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, as you are American as well. I don't get jealous often, but I do wish Canadians did Thanksgiving like you guys. I've said this on the show many a times. You guys are banger Thanksgivings. Ours are great. You spend time with the family, eat some turkey, but it's pretty soft. But anyways, how did that go on Thanksgiving? Tell me about the NFL prediction markets and all the prediction markets you guys are doing. I love prediction markets. I think they're here to stay for sure.
Yeah, so there's sort of like two ways to look at this. So every arena has built-in prediction market mechanisms into it. So if you are not competing an agent or whatever, you can just watch the arena happen. You can watch the charts and leaderboards, and you can basically like bet on which AI you think will win. So there's like little prediction markets built into every arena. So even observers have skin in the game, and they can monetize their insight and intelligence about which AI work best at each skill. But generally, the prediction category of arenas, so testing AI on their predictive abilities, is like a whole new category that we're quickly expanding into. We spend a lot of time trading and like, DeFi and stuff like that. But, obviously with the growth in places like Polymarket, for everything, Kalshi, predictions are this like exploding category. So we started with NFL. We just were like, hey, Thanksgiving's coming up. NFL predictions are notoriously hard. I think like the sportsbook lines are only right 55% of the time.
Yep.
And so it's really like the current state of the art in machine learning algorithms to generate these lines and stuff is only slightly better than a coin toss. And so we were just like, can AI beat that? Can current AI models beat that? And so we created an arena, which is called the NFL Arena Predictions, and we ran it on Thanksgiving while people were stuffed with turkey and arguing with family and sitting in front of their TV watching football. You could watch in real time LLMs try to predict the outcomes of these games. So they all made predictions before the game started. And then with every prediction, it's not just like win loss, it's like probability of wins. You might have said, like, I think the Lions are going to win with 70% probability. And so that only not only captured like the direction, but your confidence. And models were able to, throughout the game, continuously update their predictions and their confidence in their prediction. So you have this like rolling data set. And what we did is we sort of like compared that to the betting lines to see like how are they benchmarking, but also we used it to sort of like test their conviction. And so what we found after sort of like testing the six most popular AI models on their NFL prediction capabilities for 3 games on Thanksgiving, we're like, they're not very good yet. And, despite other NFL prediction benchmark claims of like between 68 and 75% accuracy, which they've claimed, which isn't really accurate because they're based on static benchmarks that are back tested and not in like live conditions against completely unknown and novel events, which is a live game. We found like, ranges between, I think it's like 61 and 40% accuracy. I think Grok
Wow.
was the worst, but it really highlighted like NFL predictions, like I said, are interesting for all the reasons mentioned before, but just this general category of like how good are models at predicting novel future events and outcomes. And so we learned that most models, when they were giving their reasoning about why they were making predictions one way or another, were mentioning betting lines. They were like, and I think GPT 5.1 in 99% of its predictions mentioned the betting line as one of the reasons.
Wow.
And so, they're not that good yet, and these models aren't as sophisticated at pulling in dynamic real world context and like adapting to the flow of the game. They're just like looking at this one source of data. And so we're going to keep expanding this to test all sorts of things, not only predictions and all different types of predictions, but new skills entirely. Like we have an arena running internally right now that is what we're using basically to interview coding agents. We like put up a task, we run an arena, and all these coding agents compete. And we're like interviewing which one is the best at our code base through using an arena, right? Because it's really hard to know which one is better than another. So, like, the use cases are pretty endless. But yeah, I mean, like predictions and specifically the predictive ability of AI is like an area that's super ripe for arenas and testing because it really is this dynamic scenario where traditional benchmarks like obviously fail.
Well said. I love that. I don't often ask about, as extremely rare. I mean, you're episode number 499, and I've asked about tokens probably 10% of the time, barring a very, very non obvious one. $18 million market cap right now, still incredibly early. I feel like this token has a lot of utility. A lot of crypto tokens obviously have zero utility. And I want to make sure I'm not on the wrong one. It is recall token, right? Like RECALL
Yep, on base.
on base. Okay. Tell me about the recall token. And don't give me a bull because again, we don't get into price predictions. No price predictions. Don't even say like it's good to buy because again, I don't want to do any of that. I just want to just walk me through like the utility, strictly utility of it, just to let our listeners know about the token as well.
The token, in a nutshell, is used to power open arenas and sort of this flywheel that ultimately generates trusted rankings for every AI skill. So practically, people use the token and they sort of stake it or deposit it almost like an LP in Uniswap to these skill markets where if you want a new skill to turn into an arena, like I need to know which is the best AI for X, you can put the token into these markets. And once they reach a threshold, they become active arenas. When AI enters an arena to compete and be ranked, they put up some token to sort of like pay for the competition fees because competition does require some compute, some work to be done. So they're paying their entry fee. And they also return tokens if they perform well. Observers and curators are looking at who enters these competitions and they're helping to curate the best agents or models so they can use the token to bet on certain AI that will perform well. If their curations prove to be accurate based on the outcomes of the arena, they get rewarded. And that's really useful because, you know, you need to sort of test a model or an agent over time many times in order to
Yep.
feel confident in the results.
Yep.
And so curation provides early signal that fills the gap between when an agent is new on the platform and once it's built up a huge reputation. So it sort of like helps surface quality earlier than the data actually might support. And so, and then lastly, like if you're evaluating these competitions, so there's three ways that happens. One is it's sort of objective on chain, like trading. There's not really much evaluation there. It's just infrastructure that looks at the P&L. But sometimes you need to run judging on a server or on some other sort of compute network. And so you stake recall to guarantee honest evaluations from your system, and you can be slashed if you misbehave. And similarly, sometimes users are the judge, like which model is best at generating Dev Connect Argentina memes that are like relevant to the crypto community, right? Like you would have to imagine that
Some qualitative
people at
shit in there
Dev
too.
Connect have to be like, I like this
Yeah,
one or I
yeah,
like this one, right? So people are
yeah.
the judges there, and you also stake recall to guarantee honest evaluation. So ultimately, like it powers these open arenas and how they're sort of like how they launch, who competes in them, and how they're evaluated, such that it can generate these trusted rankings. And yeah, we're really excited about that. We think it's like a massive improvement from the benchmarking industry, which currently underpins trust on the like multi-trillion-dollar AI industry. It's like such a
Yeah.
faulty foundation that
Wild.
it's going to be needed as sort of not only the value of AI continues to increase and its, impact on society, but as more and more AI tools come online, it's only going to become more important.
Well said. Mike, what an episode. Appreciate you coming on. This was an absolute banger. Before we let you go, please let us know where our listeners can find you personally and, of course, Recall online and on socials.
Yeah, you can find me and Recall on X. I'm Data Liquidity, and Recall is at RecallNet. You can also check out the Recall website. There you'll find some more info on the project, links to things like our docs, our app, which is where all the competitions are run. You can start making predictions and see what types of arenas are happening at recall.network. So pretty straightforward. We'd love to connect with you if you're interested in launching an arena for a skill we haven't thought of yet. That's really where we're focused right now. So just reach out.
Love it. Folks, what an episode with Michael Sena, CSO and co-founder of Recall. Absolute banger. Huge shout out to Michael and the team for making this happen. If you guys enjoyed this one, please do subscribe. It would mean the world to my team and I, speaking to the team. Love you guys. Thank you so much for everything. And to the listeners, appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, keep on growing those bags and keep on staying healthy, wealthy, and happy. Love you guys, and we'll see you on the next one. Ciao.